Welcome to the Trade Secrets Podcast, the #1 podcast in construction, with your hosts, Joseph Valente and me, Paul Selman. Get motivated, get inspired, and get educated. If you like what you hear, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Stop till we're legends.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Paul Selman here from Trade Mastermind, and welcome to the Trade Secrets Podcast. Today, we are joined by some very special guests. We're joined by ProLink Energy Solutions. We have Matthew, Anello, and Peter. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey. So these guys have been working with us at the Trade Mastermind now for how long have you been working with us, guys? Got to be at least 18 months, 2 years nearly.
Since the start.
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
I think it is.
That's it. So you've been with the company for that long, but you've been on the Renewables Academy now for...
Since it started, yeah.
Since it started, so that's about 6 months now.
Yeah,
6-7 months.
Yep.
And how have you found the process?
That's
Fantastic.
yeah.
Really, for me especially, very eye-opening with how business needs to be run from what I'm used to, and trying to deal with how, because I'm going from learning from these two individuals and how they would run a business, which is not an ideal point of view, but how it's good, it works.
Are you slating these guys
Absolutely,
on a podcast? I love this
absolutely.
already.
So it's a fully functional process, but it works for them. And for if you were to come step into it, and if in my shoes, you would be like, "What the heck is going on?"
Well, just to go touch on that point then, so where did you guys come from? What's the sort of business history?
Trading since March 1986.
March 1986.
And
Wow.
started doing basically general supplies.
Okay.
And mainly focusing on, believe it or not, butcher meat and fruit and veg.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and supplying catering and tuck shops to events.
Okay.
And we had a van,
Yeah.
which we kitted out, which we then put freezers in and various things, and we used it to transport things about.
And your business has just developed
We
year
did
on
a
year
bit
from
of
there.
printing, and we did a bit of office, a bit of everything. Yeah.
For about 5 years, and then we settled on the building because there was more money in that.
Yeah. Well, that's the business
simple as
development
that,
anyway. So you've done your profit and loss and worked out a building, and actually being in the construction game is where you wanted to be.
Yeah, it worked for us. It worked for us. We had a lot of contacts through my parents and things like that, which were people at the upper end of the market, and we basically stuck with that. We stuck with it for 35 years, and it works for us.
So most businesses, I mean, they only last up to 10 years. In fact, I think 90% of businesses go bust within the first 10 years. For you guys to be surviving since 1986. So, you know,
Either
with
we're stupid
75
or we're just...
Yeah, I'd say you're doing something right. you know, I wouldn't say you're stupid. But so you've been concentrating on the whole of the construction industry.
Yes, with an emphasis on problem solving. When someone has something, they can't figure out how to fix it.
Yeah.
We find a way to fix it because luckily enough, people at top end of the market, the money side of it's not really a problem. They just want it fixed.
Yeah,
they want a
definitely.
solution. So thus the name for the original company, which is Building Solutions. And that's what we really need to move into renewables.
Yes, so, I mean, explain that more to me then. Why have you actually decided to go for, I mean, you've got 35, 36 years in business, successful
We
company,
think that our
by renewables.
company is as far as it can go with us running it.
Uh-huh.
And our customers are starting to ask for our customer base is quite wide, and these people have companies and they have personal houses and they all want solar,
Yep.
and they want a way to
renewable energy.
and
They want
renewable energy
as much as possible.
Yeah, and we'd be stupid to leave that sort of money line on the table, really.
Well, it's definitely a growth market, isn't it? I mean, we've established this demand is going up year on year on year. So I'm not surprised that you guys are wanting to capitalise on that. And so you've decided... Go on, sorry.
We've been involved in renewables for most of that time.
Okay.
Although the where we've been involved in it is in with regard to swimming pool installations first and foremost,
Oh, okay.
and solar thermal, and we do underfloor heating and building management control systems and things. We've always
It doesn't sound like there's not a lot that you guys don't cover, is it, really? This is
Not
good
really,
stuff,
no.
though.
It ranges incredibly from a simple.
But let me
gas
just
pipes.
touch on something that you mentioned before then, because you said obviously you're the new blood coming through, aren't you? You're the new generation stepping in
trying
now.
to work
So
into
when you guys have been running the businesses, may I say, just from your heads, or have you had systems in places, processes?
We have
and stuff?
some processes, but most of it was because of the size of the company. We were quite happy to run it with us. It worked for us. We complement each other,
Yep.
and that helps as well.
Okay.
the things that I'm good at are the things that he's not necessarily good at, and vice versa.
Okay.
So because of that, and we're family, and
Yeah.
that means there's a forgiveness bit as well that kicks in as well. But for us, it works, but it's very difficult to pass that on to somebody else.
Yeah, well, that's it. Without systems and process, and obviously you've been on the academy now for sort of 5-6 months. So, what differences have the academy brought to your business as a whole, especially on this move now into the renewables industry? How have you found that? What's happened?
Processing it through on spreadsheets, because before starting the renewables or starting Trade Mastermind, it was you'd write out your weekly jobs, or because we try and plan our jobs with a year to 2 years worth of work, and then each month we then break down what's happening in that month, and then try and break down what's happening in the week.
Okay.
But nothing's on a whiteboard. It's just written in notebooks, and there's just lots of notebooks. Notebooks are here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's now trying to reel that into a program or system in the computer and make it so it's chartable and you can read anything and make it basically simplify it, even though it's more complicated to get to the simplification.
Yeah.
Once that process is through, I think it would run smooth and sweet.
Yeah.
It's just making sure we can get to it comfortably and, well, out of our comfort zone to get it to a comfortable state to run the business.
So you're trying to revolutionise your business and revolutionise it at the same time as hitting a revolutionary new technology, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea, and what our vision is to accomplish is to hit this market as best as we can and revolutionise ourselves while joining the revolutionary.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it forward for trying to move in this construction industry. No matter what, we'll still have the fundamentals of construction because they'll always be there.
Yep.
And I think even for ProLink Energy Solutions, some of our jobs clients might ask, "Oh, do you know who can do this?" And be like, "Well, it so happens to be that the parent company, ProLink Building Solutions, can
There we go.
fill that need."
It's going to be a route to market, isn't it? But I mean, learning this marketing stuff as well. I mean, I don't know because obviously you guys have built quite a big client base over the last few years anyway. And now tapping into that market to sell them other products and then watering down that cost per acquisition is going to be a massive benefit of you guys already having a database.
Yes.
You know,
We recognize the fact that we're really quite lucky. Most people don't have a client base of that size, being a company as the size that we are, to have such a large client base.
That's cool.
And people with disposable income as well helps.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Well, let's
yeah,
face it, the solar industry, the renewables industry, is the reason we can get such high tickets compared to, say, doing house rewires and things like that is because people are choosing to have this as a service in their house. They want this technology. So if they want it, they're normally in the wider sense, they're wanting to pay extra for it for the correct job and the correct value. And demonstrating that value from working with other guys in the Renewables Academy as well is you've got to get used to, as a business person, demonstrating what value you can provide over the competition. So sales values, I mean, what sort of figures are we talking about on your solar jobs? What have you been achieving? You know, what have you got?
We reckoned the market was going to be on pure solar probably about 15. In an ideal scenario, people would actually buy a package, which would be solar, air source, battery pack, and an EV charger.
Okay.
Which I reckon would probably be a general order value of probably about 40K.
40K.
And that's where you would get the most benefit, but people will probably go for maybe around about a 15 average for domestic. But we haven't done any domestic sales. We've only done commercial. They're tending to be round about the 30K mark.
30K.
So...
But this is extra revenue here, isn't it? And then these, what sort of margin are we talking? 40, 50% gross profit margins? What are you earning on it?
No, that's gross profit margins probably 37 to 38.
37. Well, that's not bad. That's in the construction industry, earning a 37, 40% sort of gross profit margin on a job that, you know, that's coming through at that sort of order value. There's going to be some good revenue, some good profit.
It's a good stream, It's going to hopefully make everyone's life a little bit easier.
Moving forward, obviously you've got your existing client database, but you're looking to drive more customers into this because with all the will in the world, selling to existing customers is a good, easy sell.
Yeah.
Have you improved your sales techniques to actually then be able to sell to new customers? Have you implemented the training to start doing this? What are the plans for the future?
The plans for the future are to work on our sales. I think all of us are good in our sales in our own way.
Yeah.
And with that benefit of how how we can get the sales from just a simple 10-minute conversation to then an hour and a half to 3 hour conversation later in the week. Getting that sale in it comes quite naturally to us, but it's then doing that to new clientele, because with our old clients they'll say, oh, can you do this, and you give them a bit of an upsell on the product they're wanting, and you get it. They're not really fussed. But with a new clientele, it's trying to bring that to the table of what the class has taught us is having brochures prepped and ready to go, showing because our clients they need a lot of visual in their view so they can actually see what they're going to get. Because some have no clue, which is okay, and that's why we're there to teach them or help them. And with a brochure especially, which Trade Mastermind is absolutely wonderfully broken down for us to try and work into our sales program, is to give that visual sense to that client, and the client says, well, I love that, I'll go for that, and then you're already above that against your competition. And moving forward from that, I think is just bringing in more and more organic leads as well. Because we do like leads in, but I think we've excelled through the old business. Going into this business, a lot of it's very organic, and a lot is word of mouth. But it will be a learning curve for us all to do the leads in. But I think it will be. I'm excited for it.
Well, with the right accountability, it keeps you on track. I mean, you guys, without fail, make every single session, and I can't overstate how important that is, because when you start drifting off and you start missing sessions 1, 2, and you start drifting off course, and you guys are here consistently, constantly learning, constantly turning up with the right attitude, and this is why you're an absolute pleasure to work with. So what's the future? What's the end game here? What are you actually looking to do? Say you've done 6 months on the academy, you've done really well on the academy thus far. What's the next 6 months? What goals have you set? What do you want to get from this process?
6 months.
Think big. Come on, guys.
Well, in 6 months, I would want to say our goal for 12 months, once we put our foot in the door, is I would want to get to 1.2 to 1.5 million turnover, and to do so is a lot of big number crunching. We've got to do a lot of forecasting. We've got to do, which is something we've learned in the academy, which is very attest to my ability, which is I'm learning to do, which is great.
The whole point of being here, you got to learn the stuff,
And I think in the next 6 months would be have a consistent flow of leads in. So I think we average 2.2 jobs a week. So
that 0.2 job must be really complicated.
So averages out to about 8.8 a month, so 9 jobs, 9 to 10 jobs. And if we average order value of just the bog standard order, let's say the average order value is about 12,500. If we turn that out in 12 months, then we're at 1.5 million. And then with obviously with the forecasting, what we're trying to achieve with our gross profit margin, we'll then bring into what else we can push forward. Do we need more sales? Do we need
how can you build it up? How are you going to achieve that goal? And this is the whole point of the academy. It's to try and break it down into sort of a few steps to actually make it more manageable, so that you keep coming back, learning different modules, learning different techniques in business, definitely learning the spreadsheets and getting to know your numbers. Because without numbers in your business, you're going to be just lost. And you guys already had your fingers on the pulses to a degree. So implementing these changes I think that goal should definitely be reasonable. So
I hope so.
That's it.
And then build that up and then sell it probably in 4
build and
years.
sell as well. Exit.
This one to exit.
Fantastic. That sounds good. Okay, so you guys, where can people find out more about your company?
Well, it's the website's under construction. We're just trying to finalize our last few things till we're fully released into the public domain. We've got everything at a standing point, and now we're just waiting for those last few boxes to be ticked till we're out that door. And then
fantastic.
That's where we are.
Well, like I said before, it's an absolute pleasure to be working with you guys on the Academy anyway, and it's a pleasure to tell this podcast as well and tell the rest of the community more about the successes that you've been having. So if you've enjoyed that episode of the Trade Secrets podcast, then feel free to click the link to subscribe and join us on our next episode.
Welcome to the Trade Secrets podcast, the #1 podcast in construction, with your hosts, Joseph Valente and me, Paul Selman. Get motivated, get inspired, and get educated. If you like what you hear, don't forget to like and subscribe.